Hello, let me take this opportunity to talk to you about cranial structural energetics. Cranial structural energetics is just now available to be used as a therapy for people. Through years of development, it's been coming on and developing and developing. Right now, the opportunity is on the planet to go ahead and change how people are. We're in an evolutionary state. Energetically, there is more energy for change than there has ever been. This basically is the birth of cranial structural energetics. Cranial structural work has been around for the last 20 years. Cranial structural work gets people out of about 95% of all musculoskeletal pain, including disc problems, arthritis, carpal tunnel, plantar fasciitis, hip, knee problems, pretty much anything that has to do with the muscles and the structure. Also, degenerative disc disease is one of the key components in getting people to where they get back into support and are not in pain. Cranial structural energetics is an expansion of that. One of the things that's always been frustrating with cranial structural therapy is the fact that it takes about 15 or 20 minutes to apply to a single person. We always knew there was another way to do this, and we've been working on creating and getting it to evolve to a point that it's much quicker to do, and you don't have to have the amount of training for cranial structural therapy. So cranial structural energetics evolved the idea of being able to work with more than one person at a time and being able to train many people to go out and work with many people. So cranial structural energetic therapy comes from some quantum ideas about energy, connection, observation of photon energy, and what can happen when it's used in a therapeutic manner. What's actually been arrived at is the fact that the results we would get from cranial structural therapy can now be brought about by using energy work without hands-on touching to create some of the very same changes. This is evolutionary in the standpoint that this allows us to work with any number of people at one time. One of the neatest things that's happened is if you're working with one person in a room and there are other people in the room, the wonderful changes of cranial structural energetic therapy happen for everybody in the room. Very nice, especially when you start looking at working with children and working with classrooms and working with whole populations of people. One of the things about the core distortion pattern that cranial structural therapy treats is that everybody's born with it. And out of that core distortion pattern, everybody's slowly degenerating or collapsing into a structural imbalance. Cranial structural therapy will go ahead and stop that, one person at a time. Cranial structural energetic therapy can stop that for large numbers of people at one time in a short period of time by one therapist treating. Now, there's a challenge out there. The challenge is the world right now is changing fast, and people are wanting to change and move up with the changes. I like to think of a positive evolution where we're evolving into the higher levels, coming more from the heart and less from the lower chakras. But the lower chakras are cut off from the upper chakras from part of this core distortion I'm talking about. Cranial structural energetic therapy allows us to treat a lot of people, to bring a lot of people up in their evolution. So they're going to be coming up and not stuck in the lower chakras and be ready for a higher level on this planet. Higher level from the heart, higher level from speaking, higher level from seeing and envisioning, and transcending some of the things that are not so positive on the planet as a human being. So we're really looking at cranial structural energetic therapy as an opportunity to possibly change the planet in a way that you can participate by taking this training and working with any number of people very quickly. One, getting them out of pain, which is huge. But two, bringing them energetically to a higher level. The other wonderful thing about this is every time you work energetically like this, it also brings you to a higher level. You will be bringing in positive healing energy through you, aligning with that energy and allowing the higher power of that energy to go out and make these corrections for people. So, if cranial structural energetics sounds revolutionary, it is. If it sounds good, it is. If it sounds like something you would like to do because you want to make a difference on the planet and be part of this uplifting and rising up into a higher consciousness, cranial structural energetic therapy is probably a very strong possibility for you to be trained in. Please look further on the website, find out more about what we're doing, and come to one of our classes. We would love to have you be one of the people that make a big difference in the planet today and get people out of pain and at a higher level. Thank you.